नमस्कार। आज़ादी की कहानी हमने पहले एक वीडियो सीरीज़ के थ्रू देख चुकी है, जिसका नाम था व्हाई ब्रिटिश लेफ्ट इंडिया। वो 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड थी और वो एक ध्रुव राठी की वीडियो पर रिएक्शन था। उसका लिंक मैं आपको डिस्क्रिप्शन में दे दूँगा, आप उसे चेकआउट कर सकते हैं। तो उस सीरीज़ में हमने ये देखा कि कैसे क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट का एक बहुत बड़ा रोल रहा था हमको फाइनली आज़ादी दिलवाने में। कैसे कांग्रेस, उसके लीडर्स ने क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट में पार्ट लिया था अलॉन्ग विथ नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस। लेकिन हमने ये भी देखा कि कुछ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस ऐसी भी थीं जिन्होंने क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट में पार्ट नहीं लिया था। ध्रुव राठी की उस वीडियो में जिसे उसने अनटोल्ड स्टोरी का नाम दिया था, लार्जली आई फाउंड कि वो एक अनटोल्ड स्टोरी नहीं है। वो काफ़ी कुछ हमें स्कूल में ऑलरेडी पढ़ाया जाता है, जैसे जो मास मूवमेंट्स होती थी, जो क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट थी, वो सब हमें स्कूल में पढ़ाई गई है। तो आज की वीडियो में हम एक ऑल्टरनेटिव पर्सपेक्टिव से हिस्ट्री को देखने की कोशिश करेंगे। कि क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट का वास्तव में फ्रॉम दिस पर्सपेक्टिव कितना योगदान रहा था हमें आज़ादी दिलाने में, और जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस उस समय क्विट इंडिया मूवमेंट में साथ नहीं दे रही थी, वो क्यों नहीं दे रही थी, उनकी क्या रीजनिंग थी, क्या लॉजिक था उनके इस डिसीजन के पीछे। तो आज जो वीडियो है वो एक टीआरएस क्लिप्स की ही वीडियो है, जिसका टाइटल है गांधी हीरो और सीक्रेट विलन एक्सप्लेन्ड विद प्रूफ्स बाय ए हिस्टोरियन। हिस्टोरियन हियर इज़ विक्रम संपत। इनके बारे में मे बी आपको पता हो कि इन्होंने वीर सावरकर की 2 वॉल्यूम वाली किताब लिखी है, विच इज़ पब्लिश्ड बाय पेंगुइन। उसके बाद इनकी एक और किताब आई है, ब्रेव हार्ट्स ऑफ भारत। सो आई हैव रेड ओनली द फर्स्ट वॉल्यूम ऑफ द सावरकर, आई हैवंट रेड द सेकेंड वॉल्यूम एंड ब्रेव हार्ट्स ऑफ भारत। तो चलो देखते हैं, लेट्स फाइंड आउट व्हाट विक्रम संपत हैड टू से अबाउट दिस अल्टरनेटिव पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ हिस्ट्री।
I had a really boring time studying the freedom struggle in school. I didn't like the way it was taught.
Why?
I loved the legend of Bhagat Singh with Ajay Devgan. I loved even the Hollywood Gandhi, though it may have been twisted. Have you watched the movie? It's got Ben Kingsley.
Of course, it used to come every year
Yeah.
on 2nd October.
It's how the
on
world.
Doordarshan. Yeah,
It's how the world knows about Gandhi, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's how they perceive. Was that movie accurate?
आई फाउंड इट अ लिटिल आयरॉनिक कि उन्होंने एक अंग्रेज को चूज़ किया टू प्ले गांधी। अभी जो मूवीज़ बन रही हैं उसमें दे एक्चुअली टेक इंडियन एक्टर्स टू प्ले इंडियन कैरेक्टर्स। सो मे बी उस टाइम ऐसा नहीं होता होगा, मे बी उस टाइम इंडियन एक्टर्स, दिस टाइप ऑफ ग्लोबलाइजेशन वाज नॉट prevalent at that time.
to some extent, but
Okay.
then yeah. So I think what it did was it created a brand for Gandhi, which was good for India. But I think it was a very reductionist and a simplistic view of the freedom movement itself.
Okay.
And when I say this, I remember last time we spoke about it, and there were lots and lots of comments and so on saying we are deriding Gandhi and so on, which we are not. I don't think the purpose of this conversation is to disparage Gandhi or his contribution to the freedom movement, which was a great one, but to attribute that as the only cause for India finally attaining freedom, I think that is being very, very economical with the truth.
I think it's changing.
It is changing. So we are in a period of flux where there are competing voices.
Right.
There's an establishmentarian voice which has, had roots for 7 decades. Now there are people who are talking something which is different. And so obviously it will be a little uncomfortable for people to listen to and hear. And we've made such an icon of Gandhi that any criticism of him, even an evaluation of his, failures, he was a human being. He's ought to make failures unless he's a god. Gandhi worshipped Lord Ram. Today, there is criticism even of Lord Ram about what he did. I mean, the way he sent away his wife, hearing the gossip of a washerman and all of that. You can even criticize the god that Gandhi worshipped, but you can't criticize Gandhi. If you do that, then you are a Sanghi, you are a this, you are a that, which is sadly the reduction of discourse into this binary where we want to slot everyone, put labels on others' foreheads.
ये चीज़ काफ़ी दैट ही पॉइंटेड आउट कि अभी हम गांधी को क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर सकते. इट इज़ वेरी प्रेवलेंट because recently I remember that Anand Ranganathan, he said something about Gandhi that I will never call him Mahatma. और उसके ऊपर कोर्ट केस हो गया था that he ultimately won because that criticism comes under the freedom of expression. But the mere fact that the criticism led to a full-fledged court case against him speaks volumes about where we stand as a nation on freedom of speech.
Why
No
why
nuance.
why you categorize as a Sanghi if you criticize Gandhi? Like, what's the logic?
Because first of all, there's no logic there also, because they think that the antithesis to Gandhi, the most popular antithesis to Gandhi, or the opponent to Gandhi ideologically, was Savarkar. And the assumption is, without even, that's why I said there's no nuance, Savarkar was never part of the RSS. He had a lot of differences of opinion, particularly with the RSS Sangchalak, Golwalkar, Guru Golwalkar. But for a modern discourse, if you have anything positive to say about Savarkar, that means you're a Sanghi. So you are everything right wing. Though this right and left, I think it's a very Western concept. It doesn't really work in a country like India, a civilizational country like ours. But still, so as I said, the reduction of
I totally agree with him. I totally agree कि जो लेफ्ट राइट का कॉन्सेप्ट है इट इज़ कम्प्लीटली इम्पोर्टेड फ्रॉम द वेस्ट और इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में इसकी कोई एक्चुअल डेफिनेशन नहीं है एज फार एज आई नो. Because whenever I've come across people who do this type of political discourse, I always ask them what is left in India, and they always say they have a clear definition of what is right. The right here is the religious right of Hindutva and Hindu Rashtra, which is also not correct if we take the Western narrative into perspective. But left, according to them, जो मैंने अभी तक clear cut सुना है कहीं से, which explanation made some sense to me, is that there are three types of left in India. The first type of left is the religious left, which constitutes the so-called minority, that is Muslims, Christians, Jains, and maybe not Jains, like Abrahamic religions maybe. That is the religious left, which is basically Muslims, to say it bluntly. And the second type of left is the communism, the idea of communists. So, if we talk about communism here in India, it is largely finished, I think. But if we just talk about the ideology of communism, that is a left-wing ideology. And the third kind of left is the liberal left, which talks about freedom of expression, feminism, and all of that. So that is the three kind of left. Even though, like, now the question arises कि ये कैसे reconcile होगा? Because if we talk about one sect of left, according to this explanation, one sect of left is communist, which spreads the idea that there is no individuality, that the interests of community are above the interests of an individual. Whereas the third type of left that I mentioned is liberal, which focuses on individual ideas, which focuses on individual voices. So these two are contradictory in itself. All right. So the left has no clear definition. And if we talk about right is also like, if we, the definition which is popular is the religious right in India. But that does not reconcile with what was originally left and right. Okay, so let me tell you quickly what was originally left and right. Originally, this idea comes from Europe, and specifically from French Revolution, I think. I could be wrong. So according to French, there was a left and the right. The left were the working class people who used to pay taxes. And the right were the aristocrats and the royalty, who were just like administrative power in the country but did not pay taxes. So that was the idea. So when the left rose up in the French Revolution, they wanted to establish democracy. So the left wanted freedom of expression and democracy and all of those things. And the right just wanted aristocracy. So if we compare that in modern times, the right does not have a function in India because we already have democracy, we already have liberal ideas. So this whole narrative of left and right has been just like propagated to induce differences, even though there is no clear-cut ideology between the two.
Discourse is so binary. There is no place for nuance where you can. I mean, there are certain aspects of Gandhi which were good, but then there were lots of mistakes he did. And as I said, to attribute the entire mantle of attainment of freedom to him, his ideology, the Congress party, and worse, one political family or dynasty. I think that is being very, very ungrateful to the numerous others, because constantly there was also a stream of armed resistance of revolutionaries right from 1857, which Savarkar called the first war of Indian independence, till 1946, where in Mumbai, Bombay, then you had the naval mutiny, which kind of was the last. It should be, why do we still call it the mutiny? It should be called the last war of Indian independence. If that was the first war, this should be the last war, because within a month of that, the cabinet mission plan was sent to India to discuss transfer of power. So I think these a holistic view of what all contributed to Indian independence, and we are having 75 years of independence. It's been a long time. Can we now not, as a nation, look at these facts of history dispassionately without getting so emotional? If you criticize anybody, it doesn't mean you hate them. You're just making a critical evaluation of their positives and also their lapses. That nuance, that open-mindedness has sadly gone on all sides, left, right, whatever it be. A lot of people who are in the middle, like what I would like to call myself as, they don't have a space to explore these nuances at all, because
The gray truth.
yeah, gray, there's no black and white, there's more than 50 shades of gray when it
Wow.
comes to history.
That's a nice intrusive thought in the middle of talking about the freedom struggle. No problem. I'll tell.
I totally agree with him. I totally agree, because the moment you start to criticize Congress, you're immediately labeled as a Sanghi. And the moment you start to criticize BJP, you are immediately labeled as a, I don't want to use the word, but it starts with like liberal. So that is the reality of today. And maybe I think this social media has contributed in this bipartisan condition of today's political scenario, which wasn't like prevalent earlier in India. It was very nuanced, and a lot of different voices were given the same amount of attention and the same platform as it is now given to left and the right, which is very conforming and very limiting when it comes to expressing our thoughts, because it cannot be like one or the other. There has to be some middle ground.
I'll paint a picture based on what I've heard on the show. There's one part of Indian society that views Gandhiji in the same way that we viewed him when we were children. No mistakes at all. Complete leader of the freedom movement. There is another part that's just kind of come to the forefront right now, which calls Gandhiji a agent of the British. There's a whole conspiracy theory angle on him in terms of why is there a road called MG Road in every country of the world.
Yeah.
Of course, he was, kind of an agent of the British. They had promised him this long-term legacy. That's why people all over the world know about Gandhi. They promised him personal fame. There's that whole side as well.
In my opinion, it's just a conspiracy theory. I don't think that British had that kind of influence, or like continue to have that kind of influence, that every road will be named from Mahatma Gandhi in every city. So I think that's a conspiracy theory. But yes, Gandhi did rise to a certain amount of fame that maybe his actions did not deserve, or maybe there were other people who were actually or equally deserving and did not get it. This wraps up part 1 of this video. We'll keep talking about it in the next part. I'll see you then. Thank you.